Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shai B'Shem Kodash, and shalom to the hopeful elect out there. Giving all praises to Yahweh Shemel Shai is praising the Heavenly Father, whose name in the Hebrew is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai. And in the Kodash or HaKodash, Rakah or Rakah Kodash, meaning spirit, Rakah, and holy, Kodash. So what I said when we say Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, I'm sorry, giving all praise to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Rakah Kodash. Praises to the Heavenly Father, His Son, and the Holy Spirit, and that's pursuant to Matthew's 28, I believe, 28 and 19, blessing them, go throughout all the nations, meaning the Israelites scattered throughout all the nations, blessing in the name of Yahweh, Yahushai, and the Holy Spirit. So, you have other camps that say Yahweh and Yahushai's name, but you can put in the Rakah Kodash in there. Or, Rakah Kodash, not Kodash Rakah. Rakah is a subject. So you start off with the subject. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video, The Truth Came Out of One West. IUIC meets GMS, a case study. So I'm going to give you the meaning of the term case study. A case study is an in-depth study of one person, group, or event. And pretty much that's what right next to that should be a picture of Vocab Malone, because he digs and, he leaves no stone unturned to find anything he can about the past, present, and future of really the One Westers, not Israel so much, but the One Westers. So, what Vocab does with us is a series of, or an ongoing case study. Say that. A case study is an in-depth study of one person, group, or he groups us all together, One Westers, that's a group. Or events, and if there's an event that happens, a fight that breaks, or that thing was the thing with the ISUPK and IUIC should have put it up on IUIC events, because that was the event. You want to look up the word event? In a case study, nearly every aspect, in Vocab cases, every aspect of the subject's life and history is analyzed to seek patterns and causes of behavior. So that's the meaning of the term, a case study. Sometimes the term is a film study. You look at a particular film and you do a study on the film. Like back in the DVD days, you buy the DVD of a movie that you like, and then you had the menu on the DVD, and then you would go to the part where it says commentary. So the director will, make commentary throughout the whole movie as to why he put that scene together and that scene together. Why did he choose this actor over that actor? Anyway, let's get into it. And this makes my job so much easier because I got something to work with. Oh, by the way, here you got Vocab. I'll probably watch it later. Vocab Malone Street Apologist premiering now. Book of Jonah proves God's love of Gentiles. And no, it doesn't prove that God loved Gentiles. Only Gentiles he loves are the Israelites. But they were scattered among the Gentiles. That's why if you go to Sodom and Gomorrah, and Abraham went to the Most High to to spare, the five cities, mainly Sodom and Gomorrah, and they had a back and forth, and Abraham said, if there's 50 righteous, will you save this? Will you spare the city? He said, yes. So he said, well, let's see how far I can go with the Most High without getting him mad. How about 40? Yes. 30, 20, 10. How about 10? He said, yes, I'll do it for 10. They couldn't find 10 righteous people. I'm talking about outside of Lot and his family, meaning Lot. Because even the daughters, you had the daughters and you had the mother of the daughters and the wife of Lot. So when Abraham prayed for the city to be spared, he wasn't praying for those Canaanite, those wicked people, those abominable people. He wasn't praying for them. He was praying for Lot. Had Lot not been living in them cities, he wouldn't be praying for Sodom and Gomorrah. He did it for the sake of Lot. So they had the deal. He said, look, if you can find 10 righteous souls, I will spare those cities. Couldn't find 10. So, he was told that the cities are going to be destroyed and that Lot should leave. Lot left. His wife looked back. They were instructed not to look back. The wife looked back. Now we know why the wife looked back, because she loved that city. Probably a lot of shopping, whatever women be shopping, inside joke. But she had an attachment for that city, kind of like the series. This is before a lot of y'all time. Green Acres, the jingle for that, or the opening for that TV show, Green Acres. You had Zsa Zsa Gabor, and what's the other guy? I forget his name, but he was kind of famous back then. But Zsa Zsa Gabor, he had the Gabor sisters. They were two Edomite women, bleach blonde Edomite women that were very attractive women with like European accents. So it was a sitcom. So she wanted to stay in Manhattan, and he wanted to live on a farm. So at the end of the jingle or the opening, he grabs. He says, "You are my wife." In other words, men had the last say, the last word. And then she goes, "Goodbye, city life." And then you hear the chorus say, "Green Acres, we are here." Dun, 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 which was a funny show. That's when Edomites are funny, you know. But and then when he pulled her, she was looking back at the city, just like Lot's wife. Goodbye city life, because where are you gonna go? You're gonna go up into the mountains, because that's where they had to go. And the daughters, the story behind that. Why Lot's two daughters laid down with Lot, got him, nice on some yayan, strong yayan, and he wouldn't he didn't know who he was popping. He was high, thing got hard. And one sister did it one night, then the next night or the night before that, the other one, so they can be pregnant. And they were not little girls; they were past the age of puberty. So they knew that they were going to have. They knew about the birds and the bees, so to speak. So the mother. Oh, by the way, the daughters. The reason why they did that, because they thought the whole world was destroyed. That there was everybody. There was only the father Lot and the two daughters, and the mother. She became a pillar of salt because she looked back. So just like in Green Acres, you and my wife could buy city life, and she's looking back at the city, and this guy, his name is not Buddy Epson. I forget his name. Somebody put in the one of you old heads, and he pulls her, and they wind up at Green Acres. So, so that's what happened with Lot's wife. So you can get a picture. She looked at that last look, and he's listening to the Most High. The daughters are listening to the father, and the wife. She had to take that look, and they were instructed, do not look back under any circumstance. She probably had circumstance. Do not look back. She probably had girlfriends there, so she was thinking about her girlfriends and the shopping and all this, because it was a bustling city, I would say, and that was a city, abominable city, a city of debauchery, just like before the Pompeii, the Mount Vesuvius erupted. Don't When you go into the history, do a case study on Pompeii and the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, 79 A.D. And I believe it was uh, Titus that died in that. He either got sick and died, but he had something to do with it. He was there. That was 70. That was we're talking about 9 years after the Israelites, were destroyed, so to speak, scattered. So a lot of them were put to death. So when you go into the history of Pompeii, 79 AD, the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, before that, you had graffiti on the wall of men popping women, of men popping goats. They used to call it riding the goat. Women having sex with animals, women with women, men with men. But they had it out there. They had it out there in the open. You would go shopping, you would see a painting of a man and a woman having sex, or a man and a man having sex, or a man and a goat having sex. And so when Mount Vesuvius erupted, that was the judgment from the Most High. Now, the same thing is happening. There's an old saying, I forget how to put the words together, but any society, before it goes down, the society becomes very abominable and, live a debaucherous lifestyle, if I'm putting the words together right. And this is what's happening in this country right here. This whole thing with trying to get Uganda to protect that particular the happy crowd, and you got these grade school kids that are having lectures with tram people. That's what's happening. This is Rome all over again, and that's that cup, the cup in Babylon's hand, or the woman with the woman's hand. The cup in her hand is not the charagma, okay? The cup in the hand was the philosophies that they gave to the world, because the nations committed fornication with them. So Uganda refuses to commit fornication with them, even though they're going to accept the charagma. All right. Anyway, so let me get into this. Gave you a little history in a nutshell. So it says here, Israel of God, or IOG, out of Chicago, student runs into GMS, hashtag IOG, hashtag GMS, hashtag 100% truth, hashtag Israel of God, which is Israel of God, which is IOG. So now this is the individual right here, and I'm gonna let you hear it, and I'm gonna stop. And I haven't even seen it. I've seen like maybe a minute of it. So I took my walk. I was out there for about an hour, about a little less than an hour, and so I said I'm gonna do this when I come back. So you see this guy, he got the hat tipped to the side. You can see that he's not a high member in that group. He's not a man that goes out and teach. This is the difference between the one Westers. This is why vocab's attention is on the one Westers, not these other groups, because they're pretty much like church organizations. You got the Old Testament Israelites, You got the IOG, Israel of God, that believe in the Old and New Testament, but they say that anytime you come across the word Gentile in the New Testament dealing with salvation, they'll say, well, the Gentiles can make it. You had Amir Stoudemire that was a part of that group for a stint, but he's not with it with that group no more, I believe. And he's kind of saying that the JJs is a bunch of demons. And Vocab did a video on that. So anyway, let's let this play. I hope you can hear it. Where you learn that from? Chill, man. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. Where you chill, man? Where you learn that from? Now, look at this. He got the hat tipped on the side, which is worldly. Jake does that. The hat tipped to the side. He doesn't have fringes on. He doesn't have a garment on. You see, he's got like a sort of a mohawk. You can see that this is chain is shaven. You know, he's got like he's a young, relatively young guy. He's got a bit of a he got a set of whiskers on him. Inside joke. Goodbye, whiskers. Inside joke. That's for Apostle Rhyme Blob, so he can crack up. But you see, he got the hair. He got the thing. You know. Now, what does the Lord say? Because they deal with the Old Testament. The Lord tells you about not marring the corners of your bed and the corners of your head. What does that mean? It doesn't mean to cut your skin. It means to cut your hair. You're supposed to have a full. Now, they're all over here, and the come up and coming brother coming up into eldership, they look bald. He did a video on that because they were saying you shave. He said he doesn't shave his head. He doesn't put a razor to his head. He'll cut it kind of short, keep it kind of short, keep the beard going, and he's kind of bald over here. But he did a video on that explaining that. And he did a close up. This was years ago. But this is clearly going against the scriptures. Now, IUIC does that. They'll have guys with straight up mohawks. They'll have dreads. They'll have dreads, mohawk dreads. They'll shave their self and all that. They don't just get lineups. They shave their shit off. So they're going off. That's hypocrisy right there. So, you know, the first thing you see this guy, see this individual, you know, he's a worldly Jake. You know, a police officer might kind of keep an eye on him. He might do something. You know, he's like he comes off as a worldly Jake. All right. So let's listen. What group? Israel God. Israel what? Israel God. Israel of God. Brother Marlon, Brother Bowie. Where from Chicago? Chicago. You heard of Brother Bowie, man. Chicago, man. That's my elder, man. He's been old all my life. He's wise. Old don't mean he's wise, man. Brother Bowie is wise. Israel of God is going off a lot. But let's be. What are you? We GMS. Great news coming. We all over the world. But what? Now let me ask you this: did you learn from them? What name do they call on for the Almighty and Son? Tell the people. What name do they call on? What name? What is your God's name? First Christians, man. We're the original Christians, man. Okay. We're the original. That's true, man. That's true. What's your God's name? Tell the brothers and sisters. Yahweh. Right now, 116. So you heard him say Yahweh. Now Yahweh, Edomite, so-called Edomites, deep Edomite Christians, you know, Bible Belt Christians, they call on Yahweh. They'll say Yahweh. Okay. Well, we know that that's not the name of the Most High, because if the Yahweh was the name of the Most High, the white Esau wouldn't be, you know, pushing it out there like that. And that's old school. Because when I was a kid, my parents said the name, God's true name is Yahweh and his son's name is Yeshua. So I don't know the origins of the IOG, but I guarantee you, they probably most likely teach that Japhet, the so-called white Europeans, are the sons of Japhet. But like I said, they say that Gentiles, other nations, can make it too. They can go to the congregation and all that. Let's listen to some more.
Brother from Israel of God out of Chicago, he throwing up signs. He says, "Your God is who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." No, your God is who? Yahweh. What's his son? Yahshua. Okay, so y'all heard it, right? That's what they call him. What else you got for us? Know any prophecy? Know anything going on? I know we the last days. I come up with fire.
See, if this guy came to the IUIC, they would tell him you got to take that hat off, but they wouldn't. They're not gonna get on him about his hairdo. They ain't gonna say, well, look, you got to let your hair grow in, or you got to shave your hair bald and let your hair grow back in. They're not gonna say that because they allow that. Going contrary to what the Apostle Paul said, and everything that the Apostle Paul said was through the Spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Ba'Shem Rakakwadash.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I know time accelerate. That's true. I know time accelerate, man. That's good. I know your kids are. Meaning what? What's gonna happen to them? They're going slavery.
So let me bring that back. So they got into the quick conversation of the Gentiles. You ask them quick questions, he set the pace. He got control of the conversation when he's asking questions. Sometimes Christians will ask us questions and we'll let them fire away. Bring the questions. We'll rapid fire answer them. So let's listen to that again.
Meaning what? What's gonna happen to you? That's what all the time accelerate, man. That's good. I know your kids are. Meaning what?
I know your Gentiles ain't got too much longer. But with the Gentiles, they said Gentiles can make it.
What's gonna happen to you?
Like, I don't know what's going to happen to them, the Gentiles. I don't know because they don't teach that. So watch the reaction of this individual when he said, they're going into captivity. He's smiling because he knows he's got questions in the chamber, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't know. They're going into slavery. Yeah. Other nations.
It said that Gentiles going to slavery. Like they don't teach us that. Where you get that from? So that's further proof that they believe, based on what he just said, that they believe that Gentiles can make it.
Go to Jeremiah 30. We're reading. King James. King James. It's all you. It's all you. Look at this. That's the right word. Yeah. The part inside, right? Yeah. Jeremiah 30, verse 16. He said the Gentiles don't have much longer. They got to pay for all the stuff they done, which is right. Now they have to them. So you will follow Brother Martin. Do you smoke? Anything? Black and mild. I thought I saw it. Black and mild. They have black show to the people. I tell you the truth, bro. I just got it. Okay. So you know you don't supposed to be smoking, right? Did you know that? But I mean,
okay. So the question came up as a spirit about whether you could smoke weed. So we were speaking yesterday, and I said, well, there's really not a law on that. There's no law that says you can't smoke weed. In other words, word for word, right? And then we kind of got into a little mini argument, myself, Apostle Gabar, and Apostle Ramlab, and the Bishop Sakaran really didn't say nothing, but we got into a little quick argument on that about weed. There's no law where it says thou shalt not smoke weed, because whatever you want to call it, weed or whatever you want to call it, marijuana, a joint, it's an herb. It's an herb. So the question would be, I wouldn't go to some nigga on the corner and buy it. I wouldn't go to some nigga on the corner to buy it to get high with, because there's chemicals in it. So you can go to an actual Edomite that might sell it like GMO, non-GMO weed or organic weed, or you can grow it yourself for medicinal purposes. Now, I made a statement. I said, and I can go to the information. I said, prior to 72, I think it was, Nixon was in office, 71, 72. He passed a law where it was against the law to smoke marijuana. They called it marijuana back there, right? Prior to that law, if I'm not wrong, somebody correct me, because I saw it in a documentary years ago. Prior to that, there was no law against smoking marijuana like it was cigarettes. But back there, cigarettes, they had cigarette commercials. Every other commercial was a cigarette commercial. You know, they had the little songs. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Uh, they had the Newports. They had the Virginia. They had a song, a commercial for Virginia Slims, which were cigarettes for women. You come a long way, baby, to get where you got to today. You got your own cigarette now, baby. You're going a long, long way. I remember that because we used to, as kids, we used to sing them those jingles because they were catchy, you know. So back then, they passed a law saying you can't have cigarette commercials no more. You had to take the billboards, the Winston man, the cowboy, out in the brush, some goddamn where they used to have billboards, they used to have commercials with this guy. So they said you can smoke, but you can't do commercials on it. You can't put on billboards, right? And at that same time, 71, 72, Nixon signed off on a law that marijuana is a crime and you can be locked up. So people get locked up for smoking marijuana. So I said, well, wait a minute. Anytime the white man takes something from you, maybe it's not all that bad. I'm not telling you brothers go and start smoking, smoking joints, like the Rastas. The Rastas are bugged out. They smoke joints all the way. That's like being a fucking alcohol. That's all they smoke spliffs all day. Me myself, I'm not into it because I don't like the smoke. I don't like the smell of it. I don't like the atmosphere of it, the smoke and so forth. But the doctors found out that now doctors can prescribe marijuana to people that have certain that at one time was cataracts, but now it's like diabetes, all kind of things. So there's something behind why Nixon banned, made it, criminalized it. And the fact that they found out through research from 72 on up that it cures a lot of diseases. It cures a lot of diseases. So if you go to, so I said this yesterday, I said, well, look, if I'm suffering from my eye disorders, cataracts or something, and the doctor says, well, you can use this, or you can use that, or you can use marijuana. And here's the studies: marijuana does cure cataracts or any other eye disease. So you ever see a blind Rasta? Never. There's a reason. So then you can take it, Then you can do what you got to do, Then people say, well, you can't smoke it. Well, you eat smoke briskets. So that's an argument that goes back and forth. I'm not saying we in the camp and a brother in the camp is teaching down the street that's part of GMS and he's lighting up a spliff. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying at the end of the camp when we do the closing of the camp, like last night, we always do this. If I ain't got nothing to say, I throw it to them. I say, what's on your mind? They looking at me. What's on your mind, kid? What's on your mind? They tell me you had a dream, any visions, Then somebody raise their hand and they'll say something. Then they'll get the rest of the brothers to bring out precepts. Oh, no, yeah, you're right. That happened to me when I was a kid and I had a dream. So we'll do like what's called brainstorming. Esau calls it a think tank. You know what a think tank is? When you come up with an idea, you have more than one mind in there, like brilliant minds. They'll all sit down and they'll brainstorm. You look it up. Look up the word brainstorm. Matter of fact, I don't got to look it up. You can look it up yourself. Brainstorm or think tanks. Look it up. When they set their plans up, they sit down and have meetings on it with the top elite. So when we had those meetings, if somebody pull out a spliff, I'm like, yo, brother, what the fuck you doing? But so technically, you can't say you can't smoke weed technically because it's not a law, and you really can't say the was that First Corinthians the third chapter, destroy the temple, destroy the temple of the Lord, he that destroyed the body. Was a lot. You got a lot of brothers in GMS that are fucking morbidly obese. You got brothers that drink Coca-Cola. Guess what? Coca-Cola, the thing that was so addictive about Coca-Cola, the reason why it was called Coca-Cola, because it had cocaine in it. So now they took the cocaine out of it, but they still use cocaine, but they do it scientifically, they do it in a different process. So when you drink Coca-Cola, you always drinking Coca-Cola because you're addicted to Coca-Cola. And the thing that you're addicted to is the chemical in it. They separate something from the coca leaf and make it a chemical, but it's actually cocaine. And cocaine can be addictive. All right. So if brothers drink cocaine, they're going off. Nope. But I wouldn't drink it. I don't recommend anybody to drink no goddamn cocaine. I mean, Coca-Cola. That's the reason why it was called Coca-Cola. In Colombia, they didn't call it cocaine. They called it Coca. Coca-Cola. And you had this back and forth with Pepsi and Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola used to always win among the other RC colas and these other colas because it had cocaine in it. It still got cocaine in it. So that I threw that out there to open up an argument, just like I threw out this video. Let me bring this up. Okay, let me X this out. Let me go here. Let me let this come up. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, this is men with long hair. This is a clip, not even 2 minute long clip of a member of IUIC. And he basically said, and I didn't put no commentary to it, I just put it up, said men with long hair. So he said that when Paul was talking to the men in the church of Corinth about having long hair, he said he wasn't talking to every man with long hair. He was talking to the ones that was flicking their hair back from their eyes, which is feminine. That's nowhere in the scriptures. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to do a whole video on it. I'm just going to put it up and just see how people respond to it. Because according to what he said, if this guy stops flicking his hair back, then Paul won't have a problem with the long hair. So you see all the comments. You got guys from the IUIC and guys, going back and forth. The reason why Paul said man's not supposed to have long hair, but a woman could have long hair, is because the Church of Corinth came from they were all Hellenized, and part of Hellenization was the young men had the long hair. They had the locks, the long locks, and that was part of the custom of being Hellenized. So that's why Paul said that. The only way you can be justified in having long hair on a man is if you're under the vow of a Nazarene. Because what else did he say? He said you're not supposed to be laying with another man's wife, because the Greek custom was, hey, you can have orgies. You can 3 and 4 women against 3 and 4 men, and they all having sex with each other. That's that Greek shit, man. So let me come on back. So like I said, I put this up for argument's sake. You can come to it and read the comments and add to the comments. Because what the IUIC does is they'll tell you, and it's on these two videos right here, to give you examples. If somebody comes up and listens to IUIC on the street and the guy got a hat on, the guy said, look, you got to take your hat off because it's going against the law. There's no law on not wearing a hat or wearing a hat. When the Bible is being read, you got to take your hat off. That's the tradition of men. Their precepts, their fair toward me is taught by the precepts of men. So they'll tell you, you can't wear a hat, but you can have long hair. And Paul said you can't have long hair. So let's come on back to this. Let's see what's going on over here. Okay.
Allow you to drink that now. Drinking is fine. You can't smoking is not. Smoking is not at all. Not at all.
Smoking cigarettes is clearly not, because they even tell you on the pack, the Surgeon General. Cigarettes are dangerous to your health. It can cause cancer. And women that are pregnant should not be smoking, period.
We'll tell you why, but go ahead first and read that. Jeremiah 30 and 16. Yes. Therefore, all their that devour thee shall be devoured. All they that devour thee shall be devoured. What else? And all thy adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. All thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. What scripture is it?
Yeah, because they don't teach that in the IOG. And the Israel of God. They don't teach it. They say Gentiles can make it. They're going to be equal to us, or whatever they say. Now, who are the enemies? Go to Psalms 83 and 1 and read on down. Those are the enemies, the nations round about us.
That's Jeremiah 30. Jeremiah 30, verse 16. Go ahead, bro. And yet as spoiling shall be spoiled. Right. You know what spoiled is, right? When they take all your goods, they take everything you got like they did to us. That me too, brother. And all they pray upon thee will I give for their prayer. All they pray upon thee, he give for praise. They came upon us, and he's going to come upon them. Like you said, all that they did in the earth. What else? So I will restore the health unto you. I will restore health unto you. Then we're going to be set back over the start and lose, right? Go ahead. And I will heal thee of their wounds. I will heal thee of thy wounds. The curse is going to be taken off of them. So you believe in this curse right now? When they doing this stuff. So that's probably why the Lord put them on us to punish us. You believe that most high came to our ancestors and he said that you will be the head and not the tail. That's you will win and you won't borrow. But that's in the flesh. If you keep his commandments, right? So he fucked up. That's true. Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. But he used them to punish us, and that doesn't.
So we're still under the curses. We're still under the curses of Deuteronomy 28, 16 on down.
Use them to give them because we missed them. The Lord used them to punish us. That's true. For our iniquity, but now he's going to turn around and punish them for what they did in the earth. That's how the Lord works.
I don't think these people believe in reincarnation. Another thing, these other congregations, you can tell me if I'm wrong. I'll say, okay, you straighten me out. But my belief is that these other Israelite camps don't believe in reincarnation. If you don't understand or accept the reincarnation concept in the Bible, then you really don't understand the scriptures.
That's how it was. Now we can go to Jeremiah, Revelation 13 and 9. Now, what I know the dope. We ain't preaching to you. We here for you. Now, what you said was we're gonna be the head, not the tail. That's in the blessing, Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. But Right now, we ain't in that part. We in 15 on down. So are we in Jacob's trouble? No, not yet. But we enter into it soon. We're going to enter into it once the elect finish here in the word. Yeah. The mark of the beast. Antichrist. Antichrist is already here. There's many. The scripture say there are many.
Other thing, which just based on what he said, I hope you can hear this. If not, you go back and listen to it. 20 minutes long. He said the Antichrist, singular. There's no so that I'm saying I'm based on what he said. I'm saying they teach there's a guy called Joe Antichrist. No, there's not no one guy. Look, this is why Vocab Malone. This is how you know that we're in the truth, because guys like Vocab Malone are constantly on us because we got the truth. This is a spiritual threat to the Gentiles. So he didn't understand the concept of the Antichrist. I bet you he doesn't understand what the Quran is all about.
There are many Antichrists. I mean, one in particular. That one in particular is Esau, the so-called white man. All right. Go ahead.
So you just heard it. There's one in particular. He doesn't understand. So they're not on our level. The point blank period. They're just not on our level.
Jacob. Revelation 13 and 9. Yeah. If any man have an ear, let him hear.
Right. If any man have understanding, understand this.
Right. He that lives into captivity should go into captivity.
You heard that, right? What that mean? But once that place is in captivity, stop going to captivity. You know. You said that when you first came up, you said that they got to pay for everything they did, right? They know that too. Yeah, they know it in the spirit. But they don't really believe it because their belief wasn't given to them. And they got pride. They don't think they're ever going to go down. We got this.
He that lives into captivity should go into captivity.
Right.
He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the faces in the face of the saints.
We are the saints. So we're patiently waiting for this. It's the patience in the face of the saints. Now, let's go to 1 Corinthians 3:16. Or 2 Corinthians 3. Let's go there. I'm going to tell you why you can't be smoking. Can't be smoking. You got yeah. What we got right now, 131, right?
So that's about the smoking part. Now, with the herb, marijuana, medical marijuana, whatever you want to call it, if you have to take it for medical reasons, you would say, well, how can I take it? Oh, you can put it in the tea. That's the best thing. You can put it in tea. Smoking a spliff, the scriptures say, give not the appearance of evil because it's going to look like people are going to be looking at you. You see, that's an argument. So if the doctor prescribes marijuana, medical grade marijuana, like you have Manuka honey, you have Manuka honey, which is great healing, but you have honey, and then you got Manuka honey. And then you got a medical grade Manuka honey. A little small bottle might cost you $100, but it heals. It kills like parasites and what do you call it? Yeah, parasites, certain viruses that bacteria that they're resistant to medical, stuff that doctors give you, vaccines or whatever. But Manuka honey will kill that that parasite, that bacteria, whatever. So the same thing with marijuana. You have medical grade marijuana with no foul outside chemicals in it. That is a prescription for you. So the best way you can do it is take it in a tea. Take it in the tea. If you're prescribed to do it, you do the study. See, I do the study on things. I'll study stuff. So Esau had to admit that really marijuana is not bad for you. It's good for you for certain ailments, for many ailments. Number one on the list is, your damage of your retina, cataracts. It reverses it. So Esau is forced to go back to nature.
Yeah, 3:16. Definitely 3:16. I believe that's the right one. Just read my next right. Of course, bro. Now I say is the people you watch, they got bills, they got a ministry going on. They go off on a lot of stuff though. Yeah, I don't know him, but I know their organization. I don't know who Brother Dewey, but I'm gonna look him up. I'm gonna look him up. Yeah, I'm gonna look him up. We're gonna look further into it. I got it. Let me look it up. Hang on. Don't go nowhere. We want to read this. Now, we can tell you this, that when you be the woman from another nation, you ain't really doing that wrong. They'll lead you straight. They will lead you straight, but you ain't got a problem.
Now you see he's smoking that vape. Now they were saying some years back, 5, 6, 7 years back, you can vape and it's better than cigarettes. If you can't, get off a cigarette, you vape. They're saying that vaping is worse. Through studies, they're saying vaping is worse than smoking cigarettes. So that right there, that thing that Esau said is all right for you to take to get off of the addiction of smoking cigarettes, vape, that vaping will kill you. So he's going contrary to 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter.
Right? Like King Solomon did. He had been in those nations, but what was his sin? His sin was following after their God, not being willing. So you can, for right now, 1 Corinthians 3:16. Yeah. We're gonna tell you the reason why smoking is wrong. Right? So you gotta try to the best of your ability. You already
see now. The elder didn't tell them about vaping because, like I said, they put out that vaping thing as a healthy alternative, that it's healthy for you. And it takes you off the addiction of smoking cigarettes. But like I said, through the studies, there's a couple of years ago that they're banning a lot of those companies because people are fucking dropping dead, getting heart conditions, lungs getting fucked up and all that, man. So that's actually, that vaping is worse than marijuana. That vaping is worse than smoking cigarettes. If any of you brothers go to McDonald's, go to Wendy's, well, no, Wendy's is healthy. Okay. If you go to Wendy's, if you go to McDonald's, if you go to Burger King, if you go to any of those places, if you go to Subways, all that shit is chemicals, man. The bread is chemicals. The meat is chemicals. That's why you notice a lot of KFC. Back in the day, it used to be good. It used to taste good. You don't see too many KFCs out there because they changed the recipe and they ain't even using real chickens. So you take your kids to eat some fucking chicken McNuggets because it's cheap. There's shit in there. There's all kind of chemicals. It's all chemicals, man. So really, you can't eat nothing. You can't eat nothing. You can't drink nothing. You can't smoke nothing. If you want to be technical. Now we eat healthy, but it's still crap because our food shall be defiled among the Gentiles, right?
I know. Why they kill us and everything? No, it ain't different. You said the right thing. They're trying to kill us with everything, but you couldn't smoke in your body. It's doing it yourself. You can avoid doing it. You already know. We're gonna read the scripture anyway.
Yeah, like smoking cigarettes it's not healthy for you. It's an addiction. It's not healthy for you at all. You're killing your body. Eating a Twinkie will kill your ass quicker than a goddamn cigarette would. So all this shit is but you do things within the law. You're gonna eat beef or lamb or whatever. You're gonna have shit in that lamb. You don't know what they stuck in that lamb, hormones and shit. So you do things according to the law to the best of your ability. So that's a new argument I'm bringing up. So y'all come at me. Come at Apostle Dahar with your arguments, man.
3:16, right?
No, for the record, I don't smoke weed. If the doctor said, "Oh, well, you got cataracts," I can hit you with some needles. I can hit you with some steroids. Oh, I was in the hospital years ago and they hit me with steroids, antibiotics, and steroids for 4 days straight. They had a bug in me, man. That shit wouldn't leave. They had me in the fucking hospital I couldn't even go to get fresh air. They had me stuck in the motherfucking hospital for 4 days straight, pumping with fucking steroids and shit. And steroids, me and Apostle Gabar mainly had an argument a couple of years back about steroids. And I said, doctors use steroids and steroids are healthy. But wait a minute, Tar. And I said my demon had a bad eye infection because one of the dogs scratching her eye. Went to a regular practitioner, her doctor. They use antibiotic. Nothing would take it out. They sent it to a specialist. You know what the specialist said? You want to get this? You can get it out, and it'll take you a couple, 4 or 5 days with this medication, or I can give you steroids, and that motherfucker go away inside of a half an hour. So she said, "Well, would you take it?" And the doctor said, "I already took it. I had an eye problem, and I did take steroids." He said, "Steroids would knock that shit out." She said, "Is steroids healthy?" He said, "Steroids healthy." Well, what about the body? Well, they abuse it. I mean, you can drink wine. You can drink liquor, right? Hard liquor. You got one person that drinks liquor. You have a cup or two in moderation. Then you have others that become alcoholics. So it becomes a harm to you. All right. So we got to use wisdom in all things. What he should have said was that vaping, that shit is destroying your body. See, we do studies. Like I said, we study things. We ain't no church. We ain't Christians, man.
Ye not that ye are the temple of God, right? And the Spirit of God dwelleth in you.
That's the reason why you know you're Israelite. The Spirit came on you, but why don't the other so-called black people, why don't they, black people, Native Americans, why do you go away? I know that, but why did not acknowledge it? The Spirit of...
All right, good. They teach about the 12 tribes of Israel. Good.
Spirit, what you know, because you know, we brother right here, we're all James. Why they ain't paying attention? Why these two ladies right here gonna stop and think about you? Because the Spirit ain't with you. But you know about it. Watch this. Excuse me, sister. Y'all know y'all Israelites? Right? See? Yeah, because it's not. I didn't lie. Spirit ain't with them. True. Go ahead.
If any man defile the temple of God, right, him shall God destroy. Right. For the temple of God is holy. The temple we are.
So you set apart from everybody else. You already saw it. The fact that they don't know, other people, other Israelites don't know they're Israelites, and you do, that means the Most High already set you apart from them. That's what holy means. Look at us. You see everybody else out here preaching? We've been set apart by the Lord. Right. We've been set apart. And you said yourself, it's the reason why you ran into us. Because we're all set apart. All of us on there, and you've been set apart holy to the Lord. But you can't take that holy body, that holy being, a holy vessel, and fill with smoke. He does. That's right. But guess what? Yeah, but he loves it. He loves you. He loves us. You said it. He chastised him that he loves. So if you do wrong, why you know the truth? What's the Lord gonna do? Chastise. That's why you probably wound up locked up. You said you was in or jail. You just got out. So now you got out. Just today. Tell them he just got out today, and you running to us. Where you from? I'm in South Carolina. Okay. So what brought you down here to the beach? Female. And guess what? The Lord used that female to move you down here to run into the fire. That's all right. It's going back. And we got high hopes for you. We pray, you know, that you come out of it. You know what I'm saying? You already found the way there. You just got to finish off with it. My first thing was I wouldn't do it. I got on probation. I was smoking. I got off probation. I stopped smoking. Started preaching. That was 15 years ago. I've been preaching 14 years. See that? We all lost sheep, but you know what? The Lord is taking away all the crutches and all the excuses. And if you want to get them, you can get them. But you got to stop. Let's try. Yeah, period. Period. Weed, everything. Yeah, because now, they all of any smoke going in your body, you gotta get away from it. Pray on it. Get fast. The Lord will get rid of it. Now, if you got an ailment or sickness in the body,
yeah, because because he's smoking it to get high. You know. Now, you can get nice with liquor. You can get nice with herb, but like I said, you can do the studies and see if that smoke, if it's a healthy herb. Certain herbs, you got to cook it. You got to, you got to boil it. You got to make it into a tea. Most herbs, you put into a tea. You make a tea from it. Okay, vapors. You got like eucalyptus, eucalyptus. You heat it up in water, and then you put a towel over your head. You suck it. You take that in, which is a herb. Eucalyptus is a herb. You got a bad cold. You do like Vicks. You take Vicks. You put it in the nostrils of your nose. What's the active ingredient in Vicks? Vicks. The active ingredient is eucalyptus. Look it up.
Marijuana like a herb, hey, you can't nobody say no, but you can't smoke it. Don't put smoking. So try to, pray on and try to get out of it. Where you made it? You said female country was shit. Oh, she don't even know you out. It don't matter. She can't run you. That's a man. She can't run you. Read verse 16 and 17 again.
1 Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God?
Right.
And the Spirit of God dwelleth in you.
Right. That's how the Spirit is dwelling with us. In us. Go ahead.
In other words, take care of your temple. I just got finished doing about 55 hour. Let's say an hour. I did an hour of walking. All right. 50 some odd minutes. Let's do an hour. Sometimes an hour and 10, an hour and 5 minutes, hour, 10 minutes. Most high willing tomorrow, I'm gonna hit the weights tomorrow. And then the day after that, I'm gonna do a 50-minute to an hour walk again. And the foods that I eat are pretty much non-GMO, uh, organic as possible. I go to certain, when we eat, you ain't gonna see us at McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King or none of them places, man. Pizza Hut, Papa John's pizza, we call it Papa Juan. We don't eat that stuff. We go to actual small little restaurants. Mainly we eat like Greek food, like Middle Eastern food. Food such as that. Issachar, to establish Issacharite restaurant that Issacharites own and run. All right, so we do the right thing, man. You should see Gabar. Gabar lost like 60, 70 pounds. So I was telling them, okay, now you got to build yourself up. He lost, he don't got, you got to build himself up. Apostle Ramlab lost a significant amount of weight. So that's part of being a stoic too.
Any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy.
Right.
For the temple of God is holy, the temple ye are.
There you go. Now I want you to go to Revelation 21 and 7. Now, a few of the brothers on the comment board, one of the elder brothers from the North Carolina, and we got brothers that be teaching in Columbia too, by the way. We should try to get them. So this is GMS North Carolina, Elder Hawaii, Proverbs 20, verse 24. It says, man's going are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? You know what that means? That means that where you go, the Lord wants you to go there. So you wind up coming here and you meet us. The Lord wanted that to happen. Another brother got, Brother Arya Kayal, he got Proverbs 16 and 9. It says, a man's heart divides his way, but the Lord directed his steps. So in your mind, you said, man, I want to go further beach. I want to go see this shorty or whatever. But then the Lord was like, yeah, I got him now. He reeled you right in. He directed your steps. So now you're being told about it. It's your first.
We don't know. I'm gonna close on this. So we don't know what this man's gonna do. He's a young man. He's young. He's a young kid. Very young in the mind. But he heard the word. Now, whether the Most High, whether he's elect, if he's the elect, he's gonna definitely, be compelled to learn more about this. But anyway, I'm gonna say shalom.